What's up, Scooby Scream fam? How's it going? Sorry it's been a bit since my last video. I had a super busy week, but I'm so excited to be chatting y'all today about Hard Eyes, giving you my review, and also comparing it to a film that I only recently watched for the first time, and that is 2001's Valentine, a slasher that I can't wait to talk to y'all about and share my thoughts on. We'll also get to some Scream 7 updates at the end. Let's do it.
Don't fuck with the original.
So Hard Eyes, let's talk about it. I just saw it the other night. You might have seen a preview of my full review on TikTok, but I want to let you guys know what I thought about this film. And I'm going to be honest, on paper, Hard Eyes is the kind of movie that I should love. A slasher with comedic, romantic elements. I mean, in a lot of ways, that is what Scream is. Now, unfortunately, this film ended with me being kind of disappointed. I personally felt like the slasher, the suspense, the horror was put on the back burner while they focused a lot, and in my opinion, too much on the comedy and romance aspect. Maybe that was what this was intended to be the whole time, a rom-com first and a slasher second. I'm fine. If that's your cup of tea, that's great. I personally felt like a lot of these suspenseful chase scenes and moments that were supposed to build tension were undercut by like moments of too much levity and comedy. I'm gonna keep this spoiler free. I'll probably do another video with some spoiler thoughts, but there are multiple sequences that I can think of that in my opinion were ruined by like a joke or something like that. Let's go over the good versus the bad. The good, Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt gave two fantastic performances. They had wonderful chemistry. I really liked them. I'd like to see them in a rom-com and not necessarily this film, but they were both great, and obviously we love Mason Gooding as Chad Meeks Martin in Scream. He's gonna be back for Scream 7, which is super exciting. The opening, I liked the opening. I thought that the opening actually made me more excited for the film than what we ultimately ended up getting, especially because that was one of the sequences where I feel like the suspense and the tension was really held till the end, which culminated in a memorable death scene, probably the most memorable in the entire film, apart from maybe something that happens at the end. But I really liked the opening. I thought it was strong and got me hyped for the movie, which ultimately did fall flat for me, as I said, sadly. The Hard Eyes killer was cool. I liked the mask. I thought the light up glowing neon eyes were neat, and he had really cool weapons. Well, I guess I could say he or she, gonna keep it spoiler free, had really cool weapons, like these Cupid arrows, this cool knife, a machete, which was awesome, and an homage, I'm sure, to Friday the 13th. There were also really cool, there was good gore. I thought really good gore and kills. The kills were pretty great, pretty memorable. It certainly earned its R rating. I was happy that they went with R and not PG-13, a la something like Megan. There were also good set pieces that were memorable. Although, one of my issues with this film is we were jumping from set piece to set piece really easily. We'd go from a character's apartment to being at this other random location in like just a couple of footsteps, which just felt a little unnatural and ridiculous to me. But this movie I don't think is supposed to be taken seriously. I think anyone who sees this won't notice that, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wasn't the biggest fan. I've seen people saying that it gives like Scream if it were watered down and a Hallmark movie, or like even a Lifetime movie, and I was kind of getting that vibe. It kind of felt like a Hallmark Valentine's Day movie with a killer in it, which if that's your vibe, good, but it just wasn't for me, and I feel like the trailer made me think we were gonna get something that we didn't. There is a reveal in the third act that I found to be personally weak. I predicted the killers. One of the killers I knew as soon as they appeared on screen. You probably know if you know. The other one I kind of saw coming, and there are some clues that I'd also like to go back on in a separate spoiler video. Jordana Brewster was a standout performance in addition to Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding. So was Devon Sawa, obviously of the Final Destination franchise. He was really good, and I liked seeing him in that. And then, so that was all the good. The bad, like I said, comedy and romance I thought was too much. They could have done a better job balancing it. Scream is a perfect example of a movie that balances all of that much better. I get that this was supposed to be a rom-com first and foremost, but I would have liked to see the suspense and the horror aspect amplified. I thought it was visually unappealing, ugly. It has that grayish, darkish, greenish looking vibe to it, and all of the dark scenes are very dimly lit, and it just doesn't look good. It looks ugly. It wasn't pleasant on the eyes. Let me know what you guys think about that. Again, the killers in the reveal not the best. Although I did like one of the characters, who I'll talk about in the spoiler video, but they were pretty obvious, let's just say that. And apart from Jordana Brewster's performance, Devon Sawa and our main two, the other characters were pretty forgettable, apart from the character played by Gigi Zumbato, who plays Olivia Holt's best friend. I did like that. But overall, some other criticisms of the film, I thought that the script and dialogue was particularly weak in certain instances. And again, the set pieces just appeared out of nowhere. Even if they were cool, like there is a great sequence on a carousel that you actually see in the trailer, which I like, but the set pieces were just kind of ridiculous and appeared out of nowhere. So those are my thoughts on Hard Eyes. I came down with it being at a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I saw that CinemaScore audiences gave it a B-. I'd probably give it like a C-, C+, B-, so that's pretty accurate to where I would be. Just not one that I really want to watch again, and I even struggled to recommend it. I think it would be really good for people who are trying to dabble into slashers and who are maybe more afraid of the more intense ones, like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you can't handle that, this may be a good alternative, because yes, it's gory and it's bloody, but there wasn't a moment in this film where I was that scared. I'd say on a scare meter from 1 to 10, it was like a 2 or 3 for me. There were some memorable deaths though, and I think the performances alone make it worth seeing, I guess. But the storyline I couldn't get into it. I thought the opening was probably the best part. There were moments when my attention wasn't even kept. And this film was only like around 96, 97 minutes. But anyway, let's transition into Valentine, 2001, a movie that I can't believe I only watched for the first time, but I absolutely loved. And I just want to talk about the things that I really enjoyed about it. And I'll just right off the bat say, I think Valentine 2001, despite it having way worse critic and audience scores on Rotten Tomatoes, which I have been horrified to see that they are that low, I think in like the 20s, 30s, maybe even lower, which is just horrendous. I think that people and critics judged like horror movies back in the early 2000s a lot harsher than they do now, because I found Valentine to be a pretty serviceable, fun slasher that was very emulating of the 80s style. The killer was pretty obvious, but I thought they did a great job at making you guess until the very end. I'm going to give spoilers to this one. It was obviously David Boreanaz's character, who is the young boy at the beginning, who is bullied, but at the end ends up being the killer, and he got like hot, I guess, through some plastic surgery or whatever, and is actually the love interest of our friend Marley Shelton, who of course plays Deputy Judy Hicks in the Scream franchise. She's in this film. She is very good. I thought she was great as the main character. But her boyfriend, David Boreanaz's character, ends up being the killer in the end. And I really love how they keep you guessing until the very, very end. The reveal was better than Hard Eyes, and it was very unique because Marley Shelton's character doesn't actually know that he's the killer in the end. So it's just like, what happens next? I feel like we were robbed of a sequel. But the opening was also awesome. It featured Katherine Heigl from Grey's Anatomy in a very memorable, I guess you could call this opening, even though it's not technically the opening, but the opening is like when David Boreanaz's character is being bullied at his like middle school St. Valentine's Day dance, which some people say, and I haven't really looked into this, but I do think it is true, that the ways that he's rejected by these girls who he ends up killing throughout the movie, the ways that he's rejected at the dance end up being the ways that they die, and the ways that these cards that they get predict that they're going to die, which I think is really, really cool and just like a well thought out script point. But the opening with Katherine Heigl's character, where she is like a medical student performing like an anatomical or anatomy procedure on this body, she ends up being chased by the killer, who wears this pretty cool Cupid mask. I will say the Hard Eyes killer has the better mask, whereas the Cupid killer was more menacing and scarier to me. And these chase sequences are intense. They are not undercut by moments of levity or comedy, which I really enjoyed. And that opening where the killer is chasing her and she's hiding in this body bag, in this hallway of all these body bags, and the killer's just going down, stabbing each one, was so memorable. And then she is slit in the throat the same way her card predicted, and then her blood runs down this tube. And it's just so awesome, very memorable. The cast was absolutely stacked. You have Marley Shelton, David Boreanaz, Katherine Heigl, and Denise Richards, who I love. Her death was so memorable, amazing in the hot tub. There's this glass cover that gets put on it, and then the Cupid killer sticks the drill in and then throws it at the end, and she is electrocuted in the house. All the power goes out. Loved the house, by the way, an amazing set piece that I have to say was better than any of the set pieces in Hard Eyes, to be honest. Just the design of the house was so incredible and really just like nails that 2000s vibe. The kills were also very well paced. Each of them were memorable in their own right. You had this cool modern art exhibit kill where this girl is shot, I think it was with an arrow, and then pushed over this railing and this stairwell and falls down into a dumpster, which is just absurd and crazy, but it works. And you also have a really cool, memorable iron kill with this character that you don't really care at all about, but it was just a cool, memorable kill. The hot tub scene that I mentioned with Denise Richards, she gets this box of chocolates with maggots in it, which was just disgusting because she actually goes and eats one and has to spit it out. There's this scene where this one character who the girls dislike is chased around the house and hides in this sauna and then has a memorable kill. And there's also a scene where Denise Richards' character makes you think that she's gonna go have some lovey time with this guy who she ends up pouring wax on his genitals, which is just crazy and memorable and hilarious. And I really think that like Denise Richards is one of the standouts of this film. I wish that we would have seen her in more horror films. And then the ending with David Boreanaz's character, like I mentioned, who plays both Adam and Jeremy, because Marley Shelton's character doesn't know that he was the young boy that they rejected. It's just so cool because every time the killer, the Cupid killer, kills someone, his nose bleeds. And the way that we find out that he was the killer is at the end of it, he pushes the girls' one friend who's last surviving down the stairs after she's dead, and she's in the costume with the Cupid mask. And Marley Shelton's character thinks that she was the killer, and David Boreanaz's character is consoling her, and you just see his nosebleed at the end, and that's how it tells you that he's the killer, but she doesn't know it. And it's just such a perfect ending. And I just love risks like that I feel like Hard Eyes doesn't really take, which is why I would choose Valentine over Hard Eyes and suggest it over it. And I just love everything with the cards, and the pacing is really good. They're both around 96, 97 minutes, but it feels like we get more kills, or at least more unique creative kill sequences in Valentine, and they're more paced out. There's this series of it seems like 20 to 30 minutes where we go without a kill in Hard Eyes that really was noticeable to me. And I just had a lot more fun with Valentine. I wish that we would do more movies like that. I get Hard Eyes was maybe a rom-com first and foremost, which is fine, but just not my cup of tea. But what do you guys think? What would you choose between Valentine and Hard Eyes if you've seen both of them? Let me know. As I said too, I also think Valentine just kept me guessing a lot more. Even though it was in some ways obvious it was David Boreanaz's character, there were other people, like this dude that Katherine Heigl's character goes on a date with at the beginning, who I questioned, could that be the guy who gets the wax poured on him? Could that be one of the killers? Like the friends, there were just, I don't know, it felt like there were a lot more options. And something else that I didn't like that Hard Eyes did is there would just be moments where the Hard Eyes killer was just killing random people, which is fun, but in some ways like weirdly lowers the stakes to me if he's just gonna be killing anyone instead of picking off people intentionally. So yes, I'm choosing Valentine. I gave Valentine a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, which I think is just hilarious considering the bad reviews that it's gotten on Rotten Tomatoes. But hey, I like what I like, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. Let's end on Scream 7 updates. We do not have much, y'all. We are just reaching into the couch trying to find a penny with these Scream 7 updates. What I can tell you is Mason Gooding has been on the red carpet and doing press circuit stuff for Hard Eyes. And he has been emphasizing during recent press how excited he is to be working with Neve Campbell, and that this Ghostface will be on another level of brutality and gore, something I'm excited and intrigued to hear, but also this is something that I feel like we heard in Scream 6 and with Scream 5, and I just want to put out there, I care a lot more about the script and the story being better and our character development being stronger and more sophisticated and just smarter than I do about Ghostface being brutal and gory. Because if you think about those first Scream films, it wasn't the brutal nature of Ghostface that made them memorable. You know, yes, Ghostface was mean. Yes, there were some intense kills. But what we were watching was for the story and the character growth and development. And that's what I really want to see in Scream 7. Bring that back. I really did enjoy Scream 5. Scream 6, less hot on, but it was fine. But I do think that we need to get back at focusing, putting the story first, making the Ghostface kills and being something different second, because we all saw how that played out in Scream 6, and just focus on story, script, and plot and character growth and development again, which I think Kevin Williamson is very well positioned to do. We are more than 5 weeks into filming on Scream 7, and we basically have nothing. Okay, so of course, literally right after I finished recording this video, Kevin Williamson posted on his story basically our first photo of a lot of the Scream 7 cast together. From left to right, we have Sam Reckner, McKenna Grace, Nev Campbell, Kevin Williamson himself, of course, Anna Camp, Victor Turpin, Asa German, and Rory Kinnear, who we don't know yet whether he's officially part of the cast, but I suspect that since he's there with them, he will be announced. But they all look great. I'm especially loving Nev and her look. She looks fantastic. I can't wait to see Sidney Prescott back for Scream 7, but this is so great. What a nice treat to get. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of nonsense. I urge you to take everything with a grain of salt and caution things. I've been posting some funny stuff on my personal X saying that Scream 7 is going to have the ghost of Maureen Prescott returning after Sidney's daughter cries a teardrop on that infamous picture of them. And just funny stuff like that. I saw another person posting that, Sidney's daughter was going to get a call on her play phone from Ghostface, and just shit like that that's just hilarious, that I love seeing, and I'm going to keep putting out there to remind everyone that we don't know anything about this film apart from the casting announcements. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm planning to do a video soon on what I want to see in Scream 7's third act and how it could affect what we see in Scream 8, which is rumored, again, this is a rumor and speculation, to be in production. We will see about all that. I'll bring you new updates as we get them, but please like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you don't miss my next video. And also please follow me on Instagram and X at Scooby Scream, and of course on TikTok at Jake Lub. Love y'all. Cut a Casper. That's a wrap.